Hey everybody, it is Dungeon Master Mark. So today is gaming session number 21. Is that right? Yeah, so it's Monday. So it's session number 21, and this will be level 11 in the exploration of the Undermountain, I guess is the nicest way to say it. So far our party's been kind of jumping around. They've went up to go back down, they've went down to go up, and vice versa. Like I said, they were able to clear out the pirates. They know that the cultists are looking for some type of temple. Due to the notes that they found, evidently there was some type of ancient lich that they were trying to get access to his lair, where his final resting place is. And supposedly he has a very, very valuable spell book in his sarcophagus. And the party is fairly certain they know how to follow the map to get to this level where this sarcophagus is. And then supposedly that gives them access to another level, actually two other levels of dungeon. One level of dungeon and one level of cavern, and that level of cavern will take them even deeper into the mountain. So the party has found their way to the top of these steps, which lead down, and this room is affectionately known as the Gallery of Gargoyles. So of course they make their way down in this chamber. About 10 foot up there looks to be like another level, and then there's 5 foot pillars, which there are 6 of these statues of different gargoyles in like combat poses way up above them. So the gargoyles are almost 15 foot, almost 20 foot up because they're standing on top of these. And of course it's very, very ominous. There are some lights sources along all these main corridors, so there's shadows that are dancing around this as the party walks with their light sources. It almost looks like they're moving. I will let them do a perception check to see if they do sense any movement. Of course, it wouldn't be a very fun adventure if this was not a really, really nasty gargoyle fight where they're going to have advantage from being up above. And then, of course, depending on the perception checks, there could be a surprise round. Once they make their way down this way, once they get within about 10 foot of this door, it seems to be open. Of course, they see this long hallway, and looks like there's this large glowing statue down at the end of like a demon idol. But once they get close enough, they see this like opaque wall in front of them. And of course, as soon as they move close to it, it begins to kind of shimmer. Once they back away, it stops shimmering. Down this way, there appears to be a large set of double doors. And down in the opposite direction, they see a metal door over here. And then it looks like it goes around the corner. Another set of double doors. So you will notice there are a couple secret doors in this level. So if they are perceptive enough, they will find this teleporter, which as soon as they walk in this room and get close to it, this giant crawling hand jumps down. It's basically a giant's mummified hand that will attack them. And then of course, way down the opposite end, there's another secret door. This one's a little bit more well hidden. It's going to be a very high perception check to find it. Behind that, there's a locked and magical jarred door. And that's the actual sarcophagus of the lich. So the spellbook is actually in there. Of course, there's another mummified hand. What they do not realize is there's a trap door down here. I should say trapped and locked door. Behind this, there's a sarcophagus, which if they open the sarcophagus looking for the spellbook, there is a mummy lord that's going to jump out. Now this mummy lord's a little bit different. He is a combat capable mummy. He also is a cleric of evil deity, so he does have a little bit of spellcasting, not a lot. He was basically a paladin in his past life, so he has a little bit of spellcasting, but not enough where it's not like they're fighting like a super high level enemy cleric or anything of that nature. Through these double doors, which are not locked, they find these weird glowing runes on the floor, and then there's a stack over in the corner where it looks like there's several other runes. So they will be able to do a knowledge arcana check or a linguistics check to realize that the runes basically are trying to spell out the lich's name. It looks like a couple people have tried to place the runes in the correct order, but there are a couple out of place. So with a good knowledge check, they will be able to figure out how to spell his name. And of course that opaque barrier will go down. And then once they get up to the statue, they realize there's an opening there in the mouth where the glowing is coming from. And it looks like there is a large red crystal. Um, so I'm not going to spoil it. I'm sure some of the GMs out there are already thinking what they're going to make the large red crystal. It's basically the ruby about the size of like a human heart, so about the size of your fist. And like I said, as soon as they pick it up, it kind of starts pulsating a little bit. And over this way is what we are kind of calling the maze. You will notice this goes into a 5-foot corridor down this way. Like I said, this particular area is extremely dark. There are no light sources, so they are going to have to bring a torch into this area. There are steps going down over here, and there's also a couple ghouls. Actually, one ghoul, one ghast, I should say. And once they come around this corner, they're going to notice a slight glow coming from this chamber. And of course, there are several flaming skeletons, which they just love when they burst into flames once they're destroyed, which in the 5-foot hallway should be kind of comical. And over this way, I actually created a magical, basically like a summoning circle. Once they get past this second step, this is actually going to light up, and there's a random d20 roll to see what kind of creature is summoned. It could be an elemental, it could be some type of lower level devil, so it could be kind of comical. Like I said, the reason I made this a 10-foot hallway and then it goes down into the 5-foot is because some of the creatures on the list are large, and I wanted them to at least be able to kind of attack and get the party back to that area. Now, if the party is smart, if it's a large creature, they're going to fall back in the hallway and make the creature try to squeeze through so they get an advantage. So it should be a little weird there. This room, once they open up, it appears to be a summoning circle. Now, this one's actually a permanent summoning circle, and there's actually a large elder elemental, air elemental, I should say, that's actually in its cyclone form. When they first enter the room, it's going to look pretty calm. It just kind of seems like there's a little bit of dust swirling around in the center. And once they get really close to it is when it's going to pick up. I don't believe any of the party will be able to talk to it. It is willing to negotiate for its freedom in order to do them one favor in the future. But since they probably don't have a way of talking to it, I'm assuming they're either going to fight it, which shouldn't take too long for them to figure out that it cannot leave the circle. But of course, if they do fight it, then they're going to break the circle. So if they're smart, they'll back out, maybe try to get a henchman who can communicate with this thing. Of course, they can try to dispel magic, which is not very likely. But yeah, like I said, it should be a pretty interesting quest or game session for this afternoon. I think I made it challenging enough to give them some pretty good combat. Alright everybody, thank you for watching. I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.